Chris here, and welcome to my channel. As you can see by my setup, it's time to play Phase 10 Chooses My TBR. So it is almost November, and it is time to pick out my TBR again. I have a lot of things going on in the month of November. So first up, I'm hosting my very own readathon called Phase Out Your TBR. I will link the announcement video down below, and it is based off my Phase 10 game. I've created prompts that everybody can do, and the idea is to use your books that you own to complete the TBR based on the prompts. You can choose the prompts however you want to complete each phase, but the first round is going to be Phase 1, which is 2 sets of 3. If you'd like to know more, like I said, the announcement video will be linked in the description below. In addition to that, I'm also going to be doing the final book support group, which I think is a long weekend. I don't remember the dates. I'll pop them up on the screen here, but I will be participating in that as well. I'm going to be taking part in Historathon 4.0, and I will link the details for that in the description below. And lastly, I will be doing Get a Clue, which is a clue-based readathon, and I am on Team Colonel Mustard. The prompts will be dropped throughout the month, so I can't really have a TBR for that one, but the details for that will also be linked in the description below. In addition to that, I'm still doing the middle grade March book reads, and for this one, we have free lunch, and it's going to be following a kid who is in his first semester of 6th grade and is kind of navigating being part of the free meal program and his family not having a lot of money and how that is going to affect him. Very curious to see how this one turns out. I like that the books have been very eclectic, as this feels very different to the Graveyard book, which was last month's pick. As always, I'm continuing on with my Buzzwordathon picks. The prompt for this month is the word good. I had exactly one book on my TBR that had the word good in it that wasn't part of like good night, goodbye, that kind of thing, and that was My Very Good, Very Bad Dog, and this is a Chicken Soup for the Soul book. It is nonfiction, so you're also looking at my nonfiction of the month. I figured it was a smart way to double up. This is going to be stories about pets, probably a lot of dog ones, and hopefully I enjoy it, though if memory serves from reading Chicken Soup in the past, there are going to be some of them that are very emotionally hard-hitting, so we'll see how that goes. Then I'm continuing on with the TBR Knockout. So the first prompt for the TBR Knockout is to read a book that's going to make you feel good, and I went with A Thief in ThunderClan, as it is a Warriors book, and Warriors books always make me feel good because I love this series so incredibly much that it's just so nice to slip back into them and be in such a familiar world. And then the second prompt is an easy or relaxing book, and I have chosen The Broken Spine by Dorothy St. James. This is the first book in a cozy mystery series, and those books are always easy and relaxing for me because they're simple to follow along with, and they give me the cool fall cozy vibes, so I figured this was a no-brainer for that. With all of that out of the way, I now have to do this sucker, as I've already mentioned my nonfiction. So let's see what the TBR Jar of Doom has in store for me. We're going to go with a yellow. As you can see, it's a little bit easier. I did go through and take out ones I was caught up on or had finished. Oh, another yellow. We're apparently having a month of yellows. Oh, we broke the yellow streak with an orange. In theory, I should be able to read the next book in all of these series, unless I somehow caught up on them since then, but I don't know how I would have done that. So. Ooh. Bravelands by Aaron Hunter. I definitely can read this. I just have to figure out which book I'm on. Hang on. So I'm on the second arc in the Braveland series, and that is Curse of the Sand Tongue, and the first book is Shadows on the Mountain. And in this one, we're following a gorilla with a deadly secret, a leopard struck by tragedy, and a gazelle cast out of her herd. So these books take place on like the African savannah. And the first one followed a lion, a baboon, and an elephant, and the wild was in danger, and they kind of had to overcome some evil. It's been a while since I've read that arc. But this one is a brand new arc, so I get to kind of start fresh. I legitimately almost picked this up as my book that'll make you happy, because it is an Aaron Hunter book and kind of went a different route, but I didn't, so I'm not exactly upset that this got tossed on my TBR because, well, I remember really liking Braveland, so if this is as good as the first arc, then I don't really have anything to complain about. The second series I will be working on is Taylor and Rose Secret Agents. So I'm on book 2.5 for this one, and it is Secrets on the Shore. This is a spin-off series, and it is a historical fiction mystery series. I've really enjoyed the books I've read, so I'm excited to dive back into this series. And honestly, having a novella on my TBR is very, very nice, so you will hear no complaints from me. And then my third series is Raybearer. I'm trying to remember what that one even is. I'll have to look it up. The second book in this series is called Redemptor. In the first book, we're following Tarsai, and she's always wanted a family. She was raised in isolation by a mysterious, often absent mother known only as the Lady. The Lady sends her to the capital of the global empire of Eretzar to compete with other children to be chosen as one of the Crown Prince's Council of 11. If she's picked, she'll be joined with the other council members through the Ray, a bond deeper than blood. That closeness is irresistible to Tarsai, who has always wanted to belong somewhere. But the Lady has other ideas, including a magical wish that Tarsai is compelled to obey. Kill the Crown Prince once she gains his trust. Tarsai won't stand by and become someone's pawn, but is she strong enough to choose a different path for herself? As I reread that, I do remember what book it is. I definitely could picture the cover, so I may look for a recap or to see if I was vlogging at that point to see what my thoughts were as a kind of a way to re-jog my memory, but I'm definitely down to read this. This is a YA fantasy, and I do remember really enjoying the first book, so I'm down to read the second one. So those are going to be the 3 series I continue in November, and I have to say I'm pretty happy with all 3, so it should be fun. That means I can put this away, and it was much easier to deal with because I only had to roll those 3 back up and stick them back in here. I just realized I shouldn't have put Redemptor back in there because there's no next book. Oh well. Oops. But I guess one's not bad. I wasn't thinking about the fact that I don't know if it's a duology or if the 3rd book just hasn't come out. So it is what it is. If it comes out again, I'll remember to keep it out. But it was much easier to clean this up when there wasn't half of it on the floor. So this can go away until December. Which brings me to my TBR. So it is the 25th. And the only book I have left on my TBR is Letting Go of Gravity, and I'm on page 110. So I will 100% be finishing this because it is a main focus of mine over the next few days, so I actually get to put a reward on the board. Believe me, I'm as shocked as you are given how many prompts I had to get through, but I am not going to complain. So let's take my deck here. We'll give it a few quick shuffles. One more, and I will go with this one. Well, that won't work. Let's try again. I don't want to skip my prompt. I'm not going to count that because I don't think skip should be able to count for rewards. Oh, red 7. Okay. Let's pull down the prompt for red 7. And let's see which one of these. I'll go with that one. Well, I definitely would like some red prompts. We'll slide that prompt back in here so it has a chance to potentially get back up on the board. And I definitely wouldn't mind drawing some red cards because they would be supremely helpful. So last month I completed my phase, so I have the next phase set up. It is phase 3, and for this I need a set of 4 and a run of 4. As you can see, I definitely have my run of 4, but I need a little help here. So we're hopefully going to go for 3s, though if I get a duplicate here, I may keep it and use my skip and just give myself more options. So that being said, let's dive into the game with draw number 1. We have yellow 2. I do not need a yellow 2, so that can go over here. And the prompt for yellow 2 does not want to come off the board. Wordle word. I haven't gotten this one yet. So basically what I'm going to do is right now I'm going to go play the Wordle for today, as I have not done that yet. And whatever that word is, I have to try to find a book that either has it in the title or on the cover or a word related to it. Okay, so I'm already breaking my own rules because as you'll see here, the word of the day was retry. And the odds of that being in the title or represented on the cover are slim, And my first thought when I saw the word retry was to pick up an author I didn't really like, or a book I DNF'd or put down. So I'm going to retry The Harbinger. This is, I want to say, the 5th or 6th book in a series by Wendy Wang, and I know it involves Charlie, who I believe can speak with ghosts or see ghosts or something like that. I remember it being spooky, and I set it down because it was an ebook, and it was one of those things where I was supposed to read it and I just never came back to it. And I know I would have to start over because I legitimately do not remember anything that was going on, so I think I will give this book a retry and put it back on my TBR. I think that's probably the best way to use that particular word. Draw number 2 is a yellow 12. And the prompt for yellow 12 is friend pick. So for this, I'm going to use my phase out your TBR. And whatever books at the end of this game aren't on this TBR, I will let a friend choose from those and pick one of those books for me to read in the month of November. I think this is the easiest way to do it, and I said in that video I was going to make those books a priority, so I think that's the easiest way to ensure at least one of them gets on my TBR. Draw number 3 is a blue 6. Ooh, I do have 6s. I would still have my run of 4. Do I want to keep the 6 when it would be easier? Strategic. I'll hang on to it for now and use my skip. So I don't need to pick a prompt for prompt 3, so we'll go on to draw number 4. And that was a good choice because I now have 3 6s. Okay. So I definitely want to keep all of that. So let's get rid of the 3. We'll go with the yellow theme here. And the prompt for yellow 3 is read a book with a large cast of characters. So for this, I'm going to go with the Van de Beekers in the Hidden Garden. This is a fall cover, so I don't know anything about it and the time that it takes place, but I've read the first book in this series, and it follows the Van de Beeker children, and there's 5 of them, so I'm assuming we're going to see all of them, and then they have their parents, and I'm assuming there's going to be other characters they interact with, especially considering I know we met several in the last book, and I would be surprised if they didn't show up in this one, so I think this is going to have quite a large cast of characters, so I think it counts, especially considering it should be focused on the kids, and there's like 4 or 5 of them, so I'm going to use this for my large cast of characters. Draw number 5 is a green 11, and I definitely can use that. Seven, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we'll go for the reward, and we'll see what it is. And the reward for red 4 is to read an obligation read. So this is literally any book that I have on my TBR for a read-along or a readathon or anything like that, like my 5-star predictions. So I'm going to be nice to myself and put on a Thief in ThunderClan. Because this is a real easy, quick read. And it is part of my TBR knockout. So I think that it is a very good choice for obligation read. And since it's a book I'm going to be reading in the month of November anyways, that's why it's a reward. And now on to draw number 6. I was just thinking to myself, it's being really nice to me. I should have known. Draw number 6, part 2 is another 6. So we're just going to take that 3 because I don't need it anymore. And I'm obviously got my 4 6s here, so I need either another 6 or an 11, and I'm done with my phase, which will be nice because then I can add a reward. Oh, this is an interesting board. So the prompt for blue 3, which I need to complete, is A to Z title. So I have pulled up a wheel here, and we're going to spin this to see what letter my title has to start with. Q. Okay, let me go see if I have any books legitimately that I own or that are in my house that start with the letter Q. So the only book I have that would really count is The Queen of All Crows. And that is like a sequel series, and I haven't read the first series yet, so I can't really do that, but it's legitimately the closest thing I can find. So I'm just going to spin again, and we're going to eliminate Q, because I don't have any, and we'll spin again. And we get K. Well, that's got to be easier than Q. So for K, I had a couple of options, one of which would be like a Survivor's graphic novel, but I would need to read the first one in that, and I didn't want to put 2 books on my TBR, so I'm going to go with Knock 3 Times. I've had this on multiple TBRs. Like, I keep pulling it out to put on, like, readathon TBRs and then not getting to it. This is the 3rd book in the Wizards of Once series. I really, really enjoyed the series. The audiobooks are amazing. So I think now it's finally time to dive into this one and knock it off of my TBR. So I can move on to book 4 and take another series off of my TBR, and I believe it has a slightly spooky vibe, so it may work again for the lingering remnants of spooky season. Draw number 7 is a yellow 10. I do not need a 10. The prompt for yellow 10 is foiled cover. I'm going to go with Skander and the Phantom Rider because there's foiling on the lettering here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but there is, I promise. This is the 2nd book in the Skander series. It is a 5-star prediction and one I'm very excited to get to, so I absolutely cannot wait to dive into this one, and I'm so excited to have it on my TBR. Draw number 8 is a green 8, which does not help me any. And the prompt for green 8, people on the cover. For this, I'm going to go with one of my fall covers, and that's the Bellwoods game, because there are tons of people on the cover. This is one I'm going into blind because the cover gives me fall vibes, and there's like these 2 really weird eyes up here that are like menacing. So it gives me that spooky vibe. So I'm hoping, again, it will continue with the spooky vibes because I'm not quite out of my spooky phase yet. Draw number 9 is a red 3, which I don't need 3s. And the prompt for red 3 is read once, need more. So this is an author I've read a book from and loved and want to read more from. So for this, I'm going to go with 7-Year Witch by Angela M. Sanders. Yes. I read the 1st book in this series last month and absolutely adored it and immediately wanted to dive into book 2. So I think this really counts for read once, want more. I haven't read anything else by this author. It is a cozy mystery that follows a woman named Josie. And in the 1st book, she goes to this little town, I want to say in like Oregon. Yes, Oregon. And works as a new librarian there while hiding out as she's a whistleblower and is worried that the people that she blew the whistle on are kind of after her. And while there, she realizes she's got this magic where she can like make the perfect recommendation and can kind of hear the books in the library. I absolutely adored book 1. So I, like I said, I immediately wanted to pick up book 2, requested it from the library. So this seems like a no-brainer. And for what is hopefully my final regular draw, unless it's wild, draw number 10 is a 3. If I had stuck with my 3s, I'd have finished my phase. Oh well. And this prompt didn't stay up on the board long. The prompt for blue 3 is color wheel. Man, all of my choices are being taken out of my hands this month. As you can see, I've pulled up a random color generator, and it is on this lovely yellow color, but we're going to generate a new one because that's just what come up when I opened it, and my color is, ooh, sapphire blue. That looks like a very dark blue. So for this, I'm going to go with Wish Upon a Sleepover, which is another fall cover because I think that that is pretty dang close at the top with the sapphire blue. This is another book I will be going into blind as the cover gives me fall vibes, and it is another obligation read, so I might as well stick it on my TBR. And like I said, I think this top bit here is absolutely perfect for the color, the way it shows on my phone. So, Wish Upon a Sleepover it is. Okay, so now it is time to deal with this pesky wild, and I have my die here, and please be nice to me. Ooh, it was. It's a 1! Y'all have no idea how excited I am about that one after last month. As long as this is not a wild, I am done. Wild 1, draw 1. Is a skip. which means I get to skip this prompt, which means I only have 9 prompts this month. I have no idea that I did this. Nice board. Very nice board. So, that would be my TBR. I don't have to pick any more prompts. I got 2 skips, so I only have 9, even though I drew a wild. I have no idea how this happened. It is being nice to me. Okay, so no complaints from me, because I couldn't have asked for a better month and an easier TBR. That being said, you should check out my Phase Out Your TBR video, which I will link in the cards above, as you might want to see whether that was as nice to me as this was, because I played it very similar to the way I played this, though I was not using these prompts, obviously. So that is going to be my insanely small TBR. Let me see. I can actually hold this sucker up. So this is my very small TBR plus the Harbinger plus whatever my friend picked for me. I think this is a totally doable TBR. I'm also very excited to say that I've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4 of my 5-star prediction / fall covers on my TBR at the very least. Because again, spoiler here, there may be some of those on my Phase Out TBR that aren't on this, so my friend could have picked those, so maybe 5, which is pretty awesome. And then this was also an obligation read, so I'm just, very, very happy with this TBR. So that's going to be it for this video. I'm relieved that this went so smoothly. I'm not used to that, but I will take it, because it means I can focus on my Phase Out Your TBR, which is also really, really awesome. So that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up here. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me turkey emojis. They have turkey emojis, right? They've got to. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!